How Native American Treaty Policies Shaped History and Culture. Explore the impact of treaty policies on Native American tribes, their culture and history in a casual, insightful conversation. Understanding Native American Treaty Policy, a casual conversation. Hey, have you ever thought about how treaties between Native American tribes and the U.S. government shaped so much of history? It's pretty fascinating, and honestly, a bit complex. But I want to share some thoughts about the treaty policies and how they affected Native American people, their culture, and their heritage. Imagine us just sitting down, having coffee, and chatting about this history that's often overlooked or misunderstood. So first off, treaties were essentially agreements between Native American tribes and the U.S. government, kind of like contracts. But unlike the typical contracts most people are familiar with, these treaties were packed with all kinds of layers: political, cultural, and economic. The U.S. government saw them as tools for westward expansion, while Native American tribes often viewed treaties as sacred promises to protect their land and way of life. For many tribes, making a treaty wasn't about giving up everything. It was about survival and trying to maintain their culture in the face of massive pressure. Here's the tricky part. Ever since the first treaty signed in the late 18th century, there was a pattern of the U.S. government repeatedly breaking treaty terms. Land was stolen or taken through unfair deals, resources were exploited, and Native American heritage was all too often disregarded. Yet these treaties remain legally binding even today, which says a lot about how the relationship between Native American tribes and the government is still evolving. What really stands out is the difference between how Native American culture and the U.S. government perceived land ownership. Native American tribes have a deeply spiritual connection to the land. It's not just property, but part of their identity and history. The U.S., on the other hand, approached it from a European legal perspective: land to be owned, bought, and sold. Treaty signing as political strategy. Tribes often use treaties strategically to gain allies or to try to negotiate peace during turbulent times. Land and resource impact. Many treaties resulted in tribes ceding vast amounts of land but retaining rights to hunt, fish, or travel across certain areas. Legal complexity. Many modern court cases about Native American rights trace back to treaty clauses that were ignored or violated. And it wasn't just about land. Treaties affected Native American history in ways that influenced their social systems, economies, and governance. Some tribes were forced to relocate to reservations that often had poor living conditions, breaking up their communities and cultural practices. This aspect of treaty policy highlights how intertwined the legal agreements were with dismantling Native American culture over time. But here's something hopeful. The resilience of Native American people today is incredible. Despite those decades of injustices, many tribes have successfully reclaimed parts of their Native American heritage, fought for treaty rights, and revived cultural traditions. Legal battles often reference original treaty rights as a foundation to restore sovereignty and restore the relationship with their traditional lands. Now, if you want to understand this in a wider context, connect with stories and ideas about resilience and leadership, I highly recommend checking out For Such a Time as This. It gives a thoughtful perspective on the history and spirit of Native American tribes and their ongoing journey. Get your copy today. It's definitely a valuable read that makes the history come alive. In a nutshell, the treaty policy between Native Americans and the U.S. was a mixed story of promises, betrayals, and survival. It remains a key chapter in Native American history that influences the legal, cultural, and social realities of many tribes today. So next time you hear about Native American treaties, remember, these documents aren't just old papers. They represent the resilience and spirit of Native American people who continue to honor their culture and heritage despite centuries of challenges. Thanks for letting me share some thoughts on this. It's a story that deserves more attention and respect.